Good evening. Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank with an update. From severe weather to heavy rain to some hail and even power outages. We've seen a lot of it, especially on the Metro East side. I want to show you O'Fallon, Illinois, a time lapse from earlier today. Now, a lot of you on the Illinois side were cloudy throughout the day. The sun came out, and then, of course, we had big bursts of rain and hail. And I want to show you that here on the time lapse as it rapidly develops. And these storms really sucked in the heat of the day as we got into the 90s. But watch how we started to clear out. Sun is out, these clouds start to build, and then we finally saw a burst of rain and eventually some hail. And so that's what we're going to look at here now as the sun sets. It's starting to clear out. That's what we're headed for overnight. Things are starting to calm down, at least for a brief period, but I want to show you what it looked like into the overnight hours. From Effingham to really right now, this is near Jacksonville, north of Pittsfield. Very heavy rain. I want to show you this on a broad perspective because we know how dry it's been. And that's how much rain has been falling over the same location that they have a flash flood warning, because we have seen up to 2-inch per hour rainfall rates. It's very saturated, but it's been very confined to the Metro East side specifically, as we've had areas further to the north and even further north, closer to Iowa and on I-80. I mean, it has basically sat on I-80 and the Indiana toll road south of Chicago, and that's why we have this wide area of flash flooding. But what we're going to watch out specifically for right now is watch how this is diving south. And what that outflow of storms is doing is it's merging with this leftover area. And I want to circle areas north of Bowling Green right now because I think we'll see additional development as this all kind of pushes together and morphs into one storm. And that's where we could see significant flooding as well. Well, watch out for that here over the next few hours. But I want to point out that locally, not much is going on right now. We're done with severe thunderstorm warnings. Severe thunderstorm watch is still kind of hung on closer to Vandalia areas. They're going to let that go till 9 o'clock. But I do expect that after 9 o'clock, we'll probably see some portion of Quincy, Hannibal that may clip a Bowling Green in terms of an additional severe thunderstorm watch. I want to point that out. We'll have an update at 10 o'clock. However, I do want to look at how we got here and what we're expecting, because we have a multitude of severe thunderstorm warnings on the other side of the state, in Nebraska, in Iowa, in far northern Missouri even, just the very tip is working its way in. And this is where that storm originated last night. And that's what we're going to be looking at. Along this boundary, which I'll show you specifically here over the next few hours, what we're going to see is this is gradually going to work its way off to the southeast. As it merges with that other system, it's going to essentially just sit there, give us a lot of rain, and that's going to be responsible for our rain in the early morning hours. So I know you on the Missouri side were wondering, where's my rain? It was sunny all day. In fact, we reached a record high. Next few hours, severe threat is decreasing. We are going to see some heavy rain in Illinois, those portions of the areas that I just mentioned, but I think storms arrive after 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you're a light sleeper, be prepared to wake up and maybe hear small hail, but probably a lot of thunder. There's some areas of power out, so be prepared for that. Here's how we get here, and here's what it looks like on a different product of our satellite, because here's how the storms just sat here and developed, and I'll let this loop and kind of linger once again. But there's a boundary that is kind of sitting here in central Illinois, and then there was some cooler outflow that kind of worked its way right over the river and sat here from St. Louis to Quincy all the way up to Omaha. And you can see where those clouds and those storms developed right here. This is all pushing together, and as that pushes from Omaha to Kansas City, and once again, I'll let this loop, you'll notice that pretty much all that's going to come together, and that's where we're going to get our storms overnight. So I want to loop this again, and I want to show you, because that's eventually going to work its way in. You'll see how these storms fire, kind of work their way back, how that's diving south. That's what's going to impact us overnight. So here's what it looks like on Futurecast, because it is going to be a weather alert day, despite the fact that we're going to see our watches come to a close, with the exception of maybe Bowling Green, I think, overnight, and we'll see how that goes. But we may see an additional watch in the early morning hours, but I think at the very least, 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts are something that we'll look out for as this storm finally pushes its way in. It will slow you down your Monday morning commute. I think it's going to move pretty quickly once it gets here, all said and done, and it'll be out of here pretty quickly. But here's what we can expect for the next few hours, because I do think that things will clear out. We have an isolated chance for rain, but then those chances really go up into the overnight hours, and I think they really pick up significantly as we're in the mid-60s. Now, once that pushes through by 9:30, you'll notice it's to the south. I think we're clear from rain by then, and then we'll get a break. How quickly we clear out, that front lingers, we have another round of storms that are possible. And finally, it's going to break our drought on the St. Louis side, specifically Lambert, where we keep our records. Now, from March 3rd to April 15th, we had over 7 inches of rain. Very wet period. But as I keep coming back to this, from the 16th to now the 7th, we've had hardly anything. We've had almost 0.2 of an inch of rain. That's the second driest period. This is a very wet month for us. We've only had 12 times since 1874 that we've started off with just a trace of rain or less in the first 7 days. This is the wettest month statistically. We have just shy of 5 inches on average. We've obviously had a trace of rain, and that was barely anything. So it's going to be an alert day on Monday. 2 different periods. We're going to start from 3 to 8 a.m., and then we're going to have from 2 to 7. For the overnight strong storms, 40 to 60 mile-an-hour wind gusts are possible. I think we see brief bursts of heavy rain during this period. The atmosphere is very saturated. You feel this. The second half of things, there's another round possible of storms by the afternoon, depending how not only quickly we clear out, warm back up, and how quickly that front moves to the south. I do think that it will be south of I-70 at this point. Check in with Anthony in the morning. We'll have updates. It is an alert day. As a result, scattered storms, plenty of dry time in the middle of the day, and then we get a couple of days break. We do see our next chance for rain Thursday and Friday. That's good news. It still looks like it's going to be more widespread and not just confined to one side of the river or not. And then on Saturday and Sunday, an opportunity as well as we remain back in the 80s.